Alright, my last video was on Suicide Squad. It was an update on Suicide Squad. In that video, we saw the estimated numbers for Suicide Squad for the weekend box office. And these are the estimates you see in front of you. Domestically, 320,845,629. Okay, that's the estimate for Suicide Squad domestically. In terms of internationally, or foreign, 413 million, and overall worldwide 733,845,629. Okay, now those were estimates. Here are the actual figures from Box Office Mojo, and they're actually higher than the figures, much higher than the figures that we saw in the estimates, right? Remember, this was 845,629. well, this is 857,912. So that exceeds what the estimates had there. And also, in terms of the foreign box office, instead of 413 million, you have 418 million. So internationally, it exceeded it by $5 million. Domestically, exceeded it by some $12,000. Okay, so the overall worldwide box office, 738 million instead of 33 million. 738,857,912 is 5 million more, and that is something that really has an impact on not only the domestic box office but also on the worldwide box office. I think more so the worldwide. If we look at the domestic grosses, therefore, Suicide Squad lines up at number 49 above Transformers, but we already knew that the last time we looked in the estimates, right? So that fulfilled that. But what changed here was, like I said, and I told you, that they didn't factor in the box office for Suicide Squad in terms of international box office, and now they did that. So Suicide Squad has moved ahead of Up at the end of the weekend, like I told you it would do, because we didn't have the complete figures, and it's very close to $740 million. I'm pretty sure by the next weekend it will have surpassed 740 million and be on its way to challenge 750 million, which one guru predicted that it would do something like that. So there you go. So it's on its way to heading towards 750 million. It may get to 745 million. It may even get higher. So we'll see where it reaches. That's the realistic figures. We'll see. Will it pass Monsters University? Will it fit in between Monsters and Chronicles of Narnia? That's the question we'll need to know. Or will it go all the way up to Shrek? Who knows? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But what I can tell you is that its progress upward so far matches something that we've seen already. And we saw that with Deadpool. Now, Deadpool, if you pay attention to Deadpool here, it collected $782,612,155. But what's even more interesting is when you compare the weekends of both movies, Suicide Squad and Deadpool, they definitely have a similar sort of trend. Now, Deadpool, remember, it began with a much bigger box office because it came off of a pretty big weekend. So even though they say the opening weekend was 132 million, it actually started off at 152 million, right? And then started going downwards, okay? But what you will notice is that Suicide Squad caught up with Deadpool. Deadpool, in its 9th weekend, was placed 11th in the box office, and it grossed in $2,085,290. Guess what Suicide Squad did? It's just a little less than that, and it came in 11th spot as well, but it grossed in $1.9 million, basically. Deadpool grossed in $2 million. So they're really quite close. And again, Suicide Squad's drops are actually less than Deadpool's drops over that period of time right there. Well, okay, Deadpool was dropped less than Suicide Squad here. But I've already elaborated on this in the other video, that Suicide Squad seems to be catching up with Deadpool, and that's very interesting. Now, in terms of all-time grosses, you can see domestically, that is, the accumulated gross, Deadpool's way ahead. But it's still interesting that Suicide Squad's matching it now on a weekend gross basis, which is very interesting. So I just thought I would say that as well. Now, there's another aspect to this which has to do with comic book movies, and when we look at comic book movies in Box Office Mojo, we see that Suicide Squad is still at it's placed somewhere in the, I believe it's the 13th highest domestic gross as a comic book movie. It's actually only 10 million away from Batman v Superman, and that's very impressive as well. But here's the other interesting thing about it. When we look at box office grosses, you've got Captain America: Civil War, which is at the top. It's the most. It grossed in the most amount of money. The next in line was Deadpool, I believe, and Deadpool grossed in 363 million. And then Batman v Superman grossed in 330 million. And then comes Suicide Squad. And after Suicide Squad, we have here X-Men Apocalypse, I believe. And then we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is somewhere around this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Where are you? Yeah, there you go. Then we have Batman: The Killing Joke, and then we have Rurouni Kenshin, okay, which is the last one. So we had 8 comic book movies this year. Suicide Squad lands top dead center. It's in the middle of it. It's the 4th highest grossing movie this year, domestically speaking. And that's, again, very interesting. Now, I don't know where Suicide Squad will end up, okay? My conservative predictions are it ends up somewhere at 327 million to, it could be 330 million, or it could even be 332 million. Either way, it's already outdoing everything that most people predicted. I still have my predictions as it would end up somewhere between, with top end 322 million, right? I'm going to be wrong about that. I'm going to be absolutely wrong about that, because its run looks like it's carrying on, and it's definitely internationally going to rake in some cash, but domestically it looks like it's still got a couple legs left in it. So it's going to make anything upwards of 3 million more to as much as 12 million more it could make. So honestly, I just have to watch and see how its legs will pan out and what will happen in the end. Okay, so we'll see what happens with Suicide Squad. But what I can say is that my conservative estimate, it's going to supersede that. It's going to come outside of that, and that's really remarkable. And then internationally, I don't know where it's going to end up. We'll see. But my conservative estimate was 340 something, and looks like it's going to definitely make that and some. So we'll see how it goes. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to show you is that Suicide Squad is even going over and actually exceeding the expectations and even the predictions of people who are predicting about it. And that says a lot about the movie. That people say it's a bad movie and so on. I disagree. It is a good movie. I heard one guy argue that it's not a movie. I disagree with that as well. It is a movie, obviously. It was on the big screen, obviously. It is a standalone movie. It doesn't have to have a certain sequence of events for it not to be a movie. It's just once the story is told fluently and it comes to its end and it has resolution and it's self-contained, and that's what that movie was. So one of the great points that one of the people I saw online was commenting about the movie was that it had both horror elements in it, which was really amazing when you think about it. There was a lot of graphic horror elements in Suicide Squad. And David Ayer was able to pull off not only that, but he was also able to pull off comedy in the middle of that. But not comedy such that it was something where, it was slapstick comedy or something like that. It wasn't that kind of comedy. More situational humor. And I thought that was pretty awesome. So on that note, you guys have a great one.